back to DeFi, Degens, Drip, and Farm for Poverty, where on this channel, our vision is to empower the impoverished by helping you find financial freedom through crypto assets. If you like the mission, you resonate with the vision, and you find this content useful, please subscribe and leave a comment and a thumbs up. Hey guys, welcome back to DeFi, Degens, Drip, and Farm for Poverty. So it is our Wednesday walkthrough, or whatever we're calling this, the deep dive back into the Forex ecosystem, helping you or getting started with the Forex ecosystem, helping you guys understand the different protocols and applications that he built. We already covered the overview, then we covered VREAP and REAP, and today we get into literally the foundation of all of this, where all this came from, and what it means and whatnot. So just a brief overview on it, then I'll go a little deeper. I'm going to try not to go too deep. There is literally a lot to unpack with Drip, and at the end of the day, you guys are just watching this to know if it's something you should look into and do your own research and invest in, because I can't give you financial advice, but that's ultimately what you guys are looking for. And when I checked the community poll, that was the results that I got. So the bulk of you, I ain't have to say bulk, but just nearly 50% out of 200 people that voted, 41% are looking at the Drip faucet. So there's a lot to unpack. So maybe I'll make this a longer series. I don't want to turn this into like a how to get started and all that. There are tons of videos on that. What I really aim to do in this is give you guys kind of the pros and cons and maybe some stuff that you weren't aware of. I really don't know how to keep it concise, so I'll do my best, but all right, let's get into it. So let's first start off with what is Drip. So let's get a look at the white paper, which is super complex in my opinion. Never a good place for a beginner to start. They're like, yeah, do your own research, read the white paper. But let's just first kind of break this down. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because that's been done already. But this very first page is kind of a good summary. So the Drip Faucet is the first ever deflationary daily ROI platform. 1% daily return on investment, sustainability through tax on transactions, full team building and referral system. So basically what this means is you deposit money into it, it is gone, you do not get it back, but every day you get 1% of that deposit. And then you get up to a maximum of 365% of what you deposited. You can increase that by whatever shows up in your available and adding it back in. At the end of the entire contract, each wallet can only get a maximum payout of 100,000 tokens and or a maximum of 3.65 ROI, 365%. So every time you deposit something in here, like add to it, a portion of that, every time you hydrate, meaning you're trying to put it back in the faucet, you're not taking it out yet, whatever's here, that goes to your max payout times 3.65 plus 5% goes towards your claimed. So the goal is to have as big a difference between these two numbers as possible so that you can get more in the long run. So you want to essentially deposit and or hydrate more than you claim if you want to see your investment back, because it will take a minimum of about 120 days of straight removal, taking that 1%, once you add in the 10% deposit and the 10% claim and 10% sell. So just keep that in mind. That is one big thing about it to remember how that works. So let's get into kind of a little background on it. So it's going to be into kind of pros and cons. So we're past the 1 year mark. It launched at around $2 to $3. That was the pre-sale. Then it shot up. This chart doesn't show it all. I didn't feel like pulling up the other chart, but it shot up to like 10, then dropped back down to like 6, then went up to 20, and then did the same thing again here. So as of right now, we are trading at around $15, which is about 5x over the pre-sale price and about 2x above the lowest drop after the pre-sale. So it's still doing pretty good. This may not look like a chart you want to get into, but it's still a very healthy chart when you look at the highs and lows and where we're at, and when I show you the rest of the stuff coming up. Another thing to look at, so when you're doing your own research, there are only 1 million Drip tokens. Now, this means there can only be 1 million in circulation, meaning the available drip tokens pulled out of the system that are actually sitting in people's wallets. So when you add all of these numbers up, these numbers will come up to, let's go back to the first page, 1 million total drip tokens. But the bulk of these tokens are held by the contracts. So this is the Pancake Swap Drip BUSD pool, which is also where the Drip Garden game is played. This is, don't quote me, one's the tax vault and one is the BNB contract. But point being, these are owned by contracts, not people. And when you add that up, it's more than 60% of the total supply locked up by the contract, which is great. All right, so let's get into some pros and cons. All right, so pros, very easy to get started in Drip. Literally, all you got to do is come to the Drip homepage, drip.community.//swap, and then you have to have BNB in your MetaMask, and then you'll literally click here, buy Drip. You can adjust the slippage. Think of slippage as like taxes, meaning if the price of Drip is fluctuating a lot and you put in your transaction and it moves up by more than the slippage you set, then your transaction won't go through. If you have too much slippage, then your transaction is what they call front run, meaning it's put in first, but you're paying a higher tax. Drip does not trade like other tokens, so it's always best to leave it at 1 and it'll still go through. So easy to get started. You literally just take some BNB, put it here, put how much you want, 0.1, and then it will tell you how many drip you get. Once you get your drip, you will come over to the faucet and then you will deposit it. But before you deposit it, you have to be underneath a buddy. So there'll be a link down here. I don't have it anymore because I'm already under a buddy, but you'll add buddy if you're not in it, right? So this is for people that are in it. And you'll add a buddy, and I'll explain about how that all works out. But once you're added your buddy, then you deposit and you are done. That is literally that simple. So like I said, very easy to get started. Another pro has a 1-year track record. Another huge pro component is the community support. Can't talk today. It is one of the largest community, like active DeFi communities that I've been in, that ensure that it kind of stays quite popular. So if you look, the Drip Telegram has 30,000. The Animal Farm has 43,000. So this isn't all of the members, because what happens is a lot of these members get into other subgroups that belong to their team wallet person, but there's still 30,000 members in that Telegram group. There's also a Discord that was created by the community as well. So community is one of the biggest driving forces for crypto adoption and determining how long a project will last. This one's really huge as well, and it's really based on community, so high search volume. So when you come over to vidIQ, I've showed this on my other channel, and you search for Drip, just want to show you real quick, because this determines how, Drip Network, sorry, but actually it does show up, 416,000 search volume, but we want Drip Network, because Drip could be like Faucet Drip or something like that. But you search Drip Network, and this is 405,000 search volume. 83 score. This means this is related to the amount of video YouTube searches that people are doing. And if you look at something else like, we'll call it Pulse X, which has a huge community, we are outperforming them by multiples. Pulse Chain, multiples. Let's look at a meme coin. Shiba, this is how most people even get started in crypto. Shiba Inu. Well, that's 2 million, but let's go with the coin, not the dog. The coin has 1.4, so Shiba Inu has a lot higher following than us. But still, you get my point. Community is what drives adoption, and that's why Shiba Inu does so well. So that is one huge thing to not overlook, and the community only gets stronger as more and more people search for it. And as I showed on my channel, literally from you guys that are watching me, and I'm a very small channel, I asked, hey, what do you guys want? 41% are interested in Drip. So Drip is like the first thing they come across, and the vidIQ supports that, shows you why that's the case. So that is huge and will continue to grow as more and more people get into it. Let's see, 1% daily equals more than 3,000% APR. So due to the compound interest effects that you get on this when you have your 1% daily, let's see if I can pull that up very quickly and not waste time on the delay. I'll show you the compound interest chart. All right, so what I mean by 1% to 3,000% is whenever you have compound interest, as Einstein said, the eighth wonder of the world, you are compounding the interest on top of the interest, basically. So if you were to start with one drip, or let's just use simple, $1, $1 USD, and you were to be able to get 1% daily return on that investment, after 1 year, your $1 turns into $37. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but that is 3,678%. So your 1% daily, which if you just went linear, 1% times 365 would only be 365%. But you're getting 3,678 percent because of compound interest. So it goes up exponentially. And if this is a lot higher number, you'll see how much, that changes, 250. It gets ludicrous how much that changes your investment. So is that 250 drip or $1 or $250? So that is a huge incentive for people getting in the drip. They say, I'll talk about that on the cons. UI update. So there is a UI update that is supposed to help bring in more investors. So if you're not familiar with UI stands for user interface. And right now the drip website looks like this, which is very common in DeFi, but like your 50-year-old, 60, 70-year-old parents, you show them this, they'll be like, maybe not, So Forex decided that he wanted to change the interface to this. You've probably seen this before. If you haven't, here's what it looks like. So it's already done. We don't know when it will come out, probably within the next 6 weeks, but it's meant to be more attractive and look like an actual serious investment website with people's not stories, what do you call that? Not referrals, I can't think of the word right now, but testimonies, there we go. So it's gonna be a lot cleaner, be easier to advertise this to large investment capital kind of people. So that is another pro for the system because there's nothing like that in DeFi. They don't have anything, everything's kind of game, degen sort of driven. We're already coming up on 12 minutes. Let me try to get through this a lot quicker. All right, soon coming the borrow and lending. This is basically to mean that you will not have to sell your drip. You'll be able to borrow against your drip. This is how the wealthy get wealthier. They don't sell assets. And the borrow and lending will be within the drip platform, meaning you'll be able to get a loan from someone in the platform. It will most likely be the whales who were in the pre-sale, and I'll explain that in the cons. And then they will give you USD or BUSD, sorry, and the loan will be repaid and backed by your payout. So that will determine how much you're able to get so that there's no defaulting on your loan because it's always paid back by your principal and your drip payout balance. So that will be really bullish for the system as well. The airdrop system and the tax system, that is another thing that keeps this sustainable. Airdrops is where people on your team, you can give them free drip. So that is huge. And it requires getting onboarded underneath someone. So that's the team system itself. Then you have the drip tax system, which, I'm not going to go into detail on that. But basically, the more drip you have, higher amount of taxes that you pay. The default is paying 10% by claim and sell. Then it goes up to 50% max. So it's meant to not exactly penalize the whales, but also keep them in check. Next. What do we got? Tons of community apps and dApps. Yeah, if you look at the bottom of my description, you'll see tons of links about drip. There's drip calculators. There's drip games being developed. Like all sorts of stuff about drip. So again, the community part is just huge. And then these are future partnerships: the Pancake Swap partnership, the Coinbase wallet integration, Loot NFT, Atlantis, and I believe Nexus is the one for the single asset staking rehypothecation, and could be the one for lending in the future. Don't know, but someone's coming. And then the Animal Farm utility, not gonna go into that in this video, but basically gives a home for drip, which is a good thing. Let's look at the cons. So the white paper says it's low risk, high reward. I consider it high risk, high reward, because if you are familiar with the Terra Luna system, that thing just crashed, and that was supposed to be extremely safe, and it didn't weather the storm. So all crypto, I've told you on my channel, is high risk, high reward. So that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Another con is this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You must be able to weather the storm and stick around long-term, because there is volatility. So anyone that got in up here and if they've thought they were going to make it to the moon, they got wrecked if they were selling. That's just the way it goes. So if you're not willing to stick around and wait for the next run-up, then you're going to get wrecked. Like if you were here and you waited, then you were doing a lot better, right? So you got to play the long-term game. Whales will always control the system. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look here, I already did the math on these, but basically if you look at the top 100 wallets, they control about 50% of the circulating supply of drip. And what do I mean by circulating supply? That's this. There's 324,000 drip in the wallets. So this is 32% of the total drip available, because the other 68% is locked up in these contracts here. And of this 324,000 that shows up here, like the top 100 wallets own 50% of this. And the top 10 will probably always be in the top 10, and I'm going to explain why. Because let's take this one drip wallet. I believe this is, I think his name is Jeremy Passive Income Daily, something like that, but I showed it to you before. He had 17,000 drip. Let's just take his wallet and show you what can happen and why I put this as a con. But luckily the whales that are in here are actually quote unquote friendly whales, but they're never going to leave the system. They'll always be there, and they will be the ones we are loaning or getting borrows from. So he's got 13,849. And if he was to airdrop that to himself, he will come up with 12,544 drip, meaning all of that. So this is sitting in a wallet, and he already has sub wallets, but he could literally create another wallet and airdrop all of this. And of that airdrop, he would get 0.9 available to it. So it'd be 12,544. Now, I just put 12,500. What that means is in just about 90 days, he is maxed out. This is just a drip calculator. So that means he can claim all that drip all the way out for almost another year, because 365. Now, if he were to take all that out, that's a lot of money, but there's taxes on it, and it goes back into the system, and it goes and supports the system, yada, yada, yada. But the point being is this can kind of go on indefinitely, and a lot of the early pre-sellers do have multiple wallets, but they don't have like 10, 20 wallets. They have like a handful, and they also don't airdrop this large amount to one wallet. I've seen this guy do like $10,000 to multiple different wallets. Crypto Talk has done the same thing. So all this means, and why I call it a con, like a negative, not a con as in it's a con artist, but that means they're never going to be out of the game, because the long-term goal, like I said, is drip, borrow, and lending, and they know that. So they're not going to be selling their drip. They are instead going to keep it within the system by either airdropping it to a kid's wallet, their child wallet, another wallet they own, and then just hydrating until waiting for that to come out. And then if it's still not out, do the same thing again, or tying it up in drip BUSD, which is great inside the garden, but they still control that drip. But the point is, they will never disappear. So you can almost guarantee these top 5, really with 10,000 or more is the golden number to get to the max payout in 1 year. But these here could do that as well, but I don't think these are whales. The other con that sucks in the short term is that anybody that has this amount of drip in their wallet, it's sitting in their wallet, meaning when drip pumps, they're going to sell it and the price is going to correct very quickly. But that's great, because that puts it back into circulation, and the crypto market loves green candles. So as it's going up and they're selling, other people will jump in and buy, and it will keep going up. And eventually, the bulk of people sitting with this in their wallet, besides these whales, will have it back into the ecosystem. So it's just something to be aware of, that the whales will control the game. They will have the bulk of the drip in the long term, but the way the system is played is that this drip is locked up. So it's still very early, which was something supposed to be here yet early for you to get in and become a whale. You would have to put in a decent amount of capital, but right now it's still cheap and you can still hydrate your way there. Another con is currently you must sell your drip to realize gain. So meaning you have to sell drip in order to take profit, and there's taxes and all that stuff that's built in. So that's just something to be aware of. Remember, when you withdraw, 10% tax, and then when you claim 10% tax, and when you sell 10% tax. Another con is it still kind of partially relies on Ponzi-nomics. What do I mean by that? I mean that in order for this price to go up, but this is not Ponzi, this is actually just adoption curve, macroeconomics. In order for any kind of asset or product to gain value, other people need to purchase it. So that is 100% the case with drip. We're sitting down here, hovering around, probably bouncing between $10 to $20 because no new use cases or new people have come in. Even the new use cases in the animal farm just means the current 100,000 people are cycling their money within the system. There's no new money being added to the system, but that is where all of the new stuff comes in, and it will get there. So right now, as it stands, it requires new capital, but you can play the game in where you don't have to sell your assets if you use the animal farm, but that's not what this video is about. Another con is you're stuck with your buddy. So whoever you signed up with, you can't change that. So if you got somebody that doesn't give airdrops and you were expecting airdrops, too bad. And lastly, I already mentioned this, but 50% of circulating supply is owned by the top 100 wallets. If you want to see what that looks like, where I got that from, just added up these 100 wallets and the supply. It's almost 50%. Comes out to 156,000. The circulating supply is 324. So it's like 48,000 or something like that. Not quite there. But again, that's not a big deal. It will just cause short-term price correction because these people have that sitting in their wallets so that they can sell it when drip starts pumping. So that's not a bad thing. The other good thing about it is they're leaving in their wallet, which means they don't benefit from the increase that they would get for the daily 1% ROI. So a lot of people have been sitting with 1,500 drip or whatever in their wallet for the last 3 months. Animal farm has been paused, and they were hoping that they'd see a pump or a correction. They missed out on 3 months worth of compound interest. So that's why there's a lot of game tokenomics, game theory in Forex projects, because you can decide to take drip out and put it in your wallet, waiting for it to pump. But if you did that around here, because you thought it was going up, you've been sitting with it in your wallet for almost 4 months. So you missed out on 4 months worth of compound interest. And before it gets back up here, it's going to be a while. So 6 months worth of compound interest, that's out to what, 1,800% that you missed out on. So that's the game theory you play. But also on the flip side, if you leave it in the faucet, you only get 1% per day. So there's a lot of really cool mechanics built into this. You gotta, at the end of the day, do your own research. Based on these pros and cons, in my humble opinion, not financial advice, of course, this is still a very, very great project to get in. With all of this coming up, lottery, borrow lending, all this new stuff, I believe we are seeing the lowest drip price for this year. And it could bottom out somewhere around 10. I know I said before it was 20, but nobody expected the big 80% drop in Terra Luna and the crash that caused that and the delays on Animal Farm. So there's just been a lot of black swan events that have taken it below 20. But if BNB was still trading where it was, we would be holding the $20 floor. So it's actually holding up really, really well in this crypto bear market. All right, this video has been long enough. Oh my God, I apologize guys, but I hope this added some value to you. I skipped over a lot of stuff. Probably have to do a follow-up video and ask you guys what else you want to learn, but I hope you have a little bit better understanding about the drip ecosystem and some pros and cons in it. Leave me a question below if you want me to go deeper or cover some other stuff. I'll probably cover one more drip video, but next week is supposed to be the reservoir, so that one should be short and sweet. All right guys, until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.